Hi everyone, my name's Jesse Cook. I am live on the football field here at Sharon High School, Sharon, Massachusetts, on this lovely Friday night, September 13th, 2019. We've got the hometown Sharon Eagles against the road Ashland Clockers. And with me, it's my pleasure to introduce the interim principal for Sharon High School, Mr. Ralph Olson. It's an honor to have you on the show. So last week, we had a great crowd out here and we had a good game. What are your thoughts on the student body and their response to having these lights here?
I'm enjoying it. The last time that I was here in 05-06, we had no lights. We didn't have a bleacher like the one that you're looking at over there. The field is in very, very good shape out here. I understand it still doesn't drain very well, but that's okay. We'll roll with the punches on that one. It's a nice facility now. It really is.
Yeah, that's very true. And now, since we have all these new additions, are you sensing like a different atmosphere at the games, or is it roughly the same energy coming from the crowd?
I'm going to say it's somewhat the same energy, but it's nice to know that the kids are getting together in the parking lot for some good fun over there. And at the same time, they've got a pretty good crowd up in the stands. I know they did last week. We're still waiting for everybody to arrive. So I'll be stationed up there to keep track of what's going on. But it's cool to be here tonight. It's beautiful weather, and it's a great night for football.
And now, an interesting piece of information that Mr. Olson told me before the game is that he used to be the principal at Ashland High School. So, what's it like being in the stands rooting for Sharon High School against your former school?
How do you know I'm doing that? No, I am. It's okay.
That's
okay.
fair.
I am rooting for Sharon. It was kind of a reunion for me because one of the coaches on the team now actually played on the Super Bowl team that we had in Ashland years ago. So it was kind of nice reconnecting with him, but I let him know that I'm on Sharon Eagles' side right now. So that's the way we're going tonight, hopefully.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Olson. Let's have a great game. And now we're going to bring on for the keys of the game my broadcast partner, Mr. Benjamin Cook. So thank you very much. And that was a great interview from Mr. Olson. And it's really great to have him now going to every game, being here at Sharon High School. But now after that Nauset game, the 33-14 loss, what do you think the Eagles have to do, and what do you think is going to come out of Ashland for this game?
Well, we don't know much about Ashland because they're not a league opponent, even though Sharon did play them last year. But what we saw last week was a little bit deceiving when you look at the final score, 33-14, because the second half was really a much more competitive game. And I think we sensed that all the new skilled position players on offense, there may have been some jitters at the beginning of the first half, but the game really kind of turned at the end of the first half when Alec Filipkowski intercepted Nauset at the goal line and staved off what could have been kind of a put-away drive for Nauset. And instead, in the second half, we saw a couple of offensive touchdowns. We saw some big plays. We saw some more success, both in the running and the passing game, and on defense as well for Sharon.
Well, one thing that stood out to me was the new quarterback, Kieran Chandrasekharan. He's stepping up for Jeremy Ruskin, who was quarterback for the last 2 years, and he played very smart football at the end of the game. You saw him taking it himself, doing that cute quarterback option when he needed to, and hitting Alec Filipkowski later on. Initially, Sharon's plan in that game was really to be running the ball a whole lot, and Kieran kind of figured out later on that maybe the run may not be their best strength against Nauset, and that when you've got good receivers and Alec Filipkowski, you can pass more. And then we did see them mixing it up with the quarterback option. Johnny Saab and Ike Aganenzi getting a few runs in. So what's your reaction to all of that since they got that passing game going with that initial focus on the run?
Well, Kieran not only won a number of plays with his arm, but he kept those passing plays alive with his feet too. One of the bigger passes to Filipkowski was a play where it looked like the quarterback was going to be sacked in the backfield. He rolled out to the right, shook off a couple of attackers, and by that point, Filipkowski had gotten himself open downfield, and they hit on kind of a home run play. So good to see. He could do it with his arm, he could do it with his legs, he could do it with his brain as well. So.
And, well, this is not so much related to their last game or even to the playing tonight, but take a look at our get-ups here.
That was my question. Why are we dressed like this? You threw a bag over my head and spun me around, and when I woke up, I was dressed all in black at the football field. What is going on with this?
Well, this idea is coming from the Sharon High School Nest, a new sports-centered media outlet, and their idea is to have themes for every home game for all their sports, mainly at this point in the year, varsity football and varsity boys soccer. And their plan for tonight's game was blackout.
Okay.
So we're going along with that theme.
If they have a polka dotted theme, I don't want to know about it, okay?
Oh, I do.
I don't think so.
I mean, we could get polka dots on, polka music in the background. Who doesn't love that? Weird Al Yankovic, I mean, that's what he got started on, polka music. So we could definitely pull that off.
Pull it off, yeah, right. Okay. Pull it off of something, yes.
I'm guessing tonight's theme has something to do with it being Friday the 13th, the spooky day before Halloween. Yes, a full moon. It's, I believe, a harvest moon, which, whatever that means, I think that means it's red. But we're all decked out in black for blackout, which I'm assuming is due spooky Friday the 13th, which relies on darkness. But hopefully we'll have a fun, bright game, especially bright because of the lights, which we have been raving about for almost a year and a half now. But we've got football coming up in a few minutes between the Sharon Eagles and the Ashland Clockers, and we'll be back.
We got to talk about that Clockers thing, okay? It's not because of the Spike Lee movie.
Yes, the Clockers name
We'll
comes.
talk about it. We'll talk about it later.
You want that later on?
Yes. It's a tease. It's called a tease.
Yeah, so tune in for more.
They're dying to know about it now.
Are they? I mean, well, we'll be back for the kickoff and the coin toss and all the good stuff on this spooky night, Friday the 13th. Thank you for joining us on Sharon TV.
Starting lineup on offense for Ashland. At quarterback, Dominic Kavanaugh. At running back, Eddie Lopez. Wide receivers, Jake Latessa, Brian Gazzard, Kevin Russell, Brandon Grover. And on the line, Colin Dagg, Dylan Drozek, Ryan Dwinells, Joey Harrington, and Andrew Iannarilli. And now, starting defense for your Sharon Eagles, number 45, Xavier Davis. Can they hear? Can they hear? Number 13, Jordan Barboza. Number 6, Cole King. Number 8, Ike Agbananzi. Number 20, P.J. McManus. Number 22, Owen Conway. Number 81, Hasib Ahmad. Number 5, Duriel Johnson. Number 52, Sam Freeman. Number 28, Captain John Saab. And number 70, Captain Jaden Williams-Thomas. And the rest of your Sharon Eagles. Hey, Ashland, people from Ashland, who's the kicker? Who's kicking off? Anybody know? All right. like to try to get ahead of it. Yeah, if I mispronounce any of your kids' names, just let me know. All right.
Got to an L, so that was good.
Thank you. Not that hard. Yeah. Not too many hard ones here. It is Diana Rowley. Our athletes, coaches, and contest officials have worked hard to prepare for today's competition. Please show your appreciation by demonstrating good sportsmanship and respect for everyone. This includes opposing fans, players, and our officials. As you know, the MIAA has transitioned its governing rules of football from NCAA to NFHS National High School Rulebook. There are hundreds of minor differences. Please be patient with all of our officiating staff and coaches tonight as they work out these new rules in tonight's action. Any behavior deemed unsportsmanlike.
White has won the toss and is elected to defer.
He said don't forget the concession stand. I know.
Oh, I forgot to grab that mic.
You want it now?
I want to see if he's going to announce. Yeah.
The Eagles will be received at the scoreboard. Ashland will be kicking and defending opposite the scoreboard.
Any behavior deemed unsportsmanlike or inappropriate tonight will be addressed by our school officials and police officers. Your attendance here is a privilege. We now invite everyone to stand and join in singing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome to the football field at Sharon High School, Sharon, Massachusetts, on this warm Friday night, September 13th, 2019. I'm Jesse Cook, alongside Ben Cook, and this is the football game between the hometown Sharon Eagles in maroon and gold and the road Ashland Clockers in blue and white. This is the Sharon Community Television broadcast of varsity football. Sharon is 0-1 and belongs to the Davenport division of the Hockomock League. Ashland is 1-0 and belongs to the Tri-Valley League. It's Friday the 13th, so on a mysterious night, we should be in for some wild football. Let's get into the action.
You keep going on about how warm it is. It is 57 degrees.
That's warm for New England. when I wrote it, it was up around 70. That was
in August sometime.
That was about half an hour ago.
It is a nice night, though. There's unlike last week, there's no wind. If you were to see the flag right now, it's just hanging there as Ashland kicks off.
Yeah, Ashland won the toss and has elected to kick. The kick is up. Caught, racing back, and tackled. Huge hit at the 30. That looked like Jeremy Rosenthal getting tackled. Dylan Drozik on the tackle. A huge hit.
But still not a bad return. They get decent field position.
Yeah. I mean, that's the 30-yard line. That's 5 yards ahead of where you get it in the NFL.
Should we say he got clocked? We got to talk about this, the clockers thing, because...
Hey, not yet. You said in the pregame you wanted to wait, so we're waiting.
Okay.
We're waiting.
Speaking of the clock, we get 12 minutes per quarter this year, unlike 11 in the past.
And up the middle for minimal gain. Looks like he might have gotten a couple yards. Looked like Johnny Saab maybe on the try.
3 yards, 2nd and 7.
Even the PA announcer on the other side of this booth is unsure. Coming up on 11 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the first quarter of play.
First down markers at the 40.
Chandrasekaran takes the snap, hands it off, up the middle, and they're going nowhere. Ike Ogbenanzi. I usually get his name right. Ike Ogbenanzi got stopped for 0 yards on that play.
That wasn't the crispest play. It took a while. Running it up the middle, you got to have a little momentum behind you, especially against what looks like a pretty big Ashland center of the defense.
Well, they're a big team. Just the height difference between these teams is a bit astounding. Sharon's lucky that one of the tallest players on Ashland's team is sidelined with an injury. Chandrasekaran drops back. He fires a bullet pass, but it's incomplete. That was headed for, looks like it was headed for Owen Conway.
So 3 and out. Not the way you really want to start when you get the ball at the beginning of the game.
The player we mentioned before that's on the sideline for Ashland is Moses Bautista, and he's tall.
He's number 52. He's over by the down marker. If he appears on camera, you'll know.
Looks like we've got a timeout called by the Eagles.
Judge timeout, Eagles.
So Sharon, early in the first half, has to use their first timeout.
Visit our snack shack where you can get hamburgers, hot dogs, and snacks and drinks. Support your boosters and your Sharon Athletics.
Sharon gets set, and the crowds are really filling up now.
Well, like last week with Nauset, it looks like Ashland has brought a lot of fans, parents, and friends and such along.
The punt is up, almost blocked. Fair catch from Kevin Russell. You saw Jake Tolan almost block that punt.
That was a nice punt, 43 yards by P.J. McManus. That's the problem. When you have a 3 and out right at the beginning, you really run the risk of losing field position battle fast. But a nice punt there, and under pressure, too. I had my heart in my throat for a second there as that penetration came in.
Dominic Kavanaugh stands set for Ashland at quarterback. Takes snap, hands it off, up the middle, finding some space, still on his feet, but still a small gain for Eddie Lopez.
So Sharon holds him to a 3-yard gain.
Let's take another look at that run from Lopez.
Looked like he wanted to take it up the middle, and met some resistance, bounced it outside. Owen Conway, as he did many times last week, was the first man at the point of attack.
Well, a big factor going into this, I think, is going to be Lopez's size. He's one of their top running backs, and it's hard to see him over that offensive line, especially when you're crouching down while you're running, too.
Oh, you mean lack of size, I see.
Kavanaugh drops back, lobs a pass, caught by Russell. Russell has it at the 37-yard line, and Kavanaugh knew where his man was going to be right away. A huge play, and he made it look easy, too.
It's a 30-yard play, and he really used his height advantage there.
Well, look, Kavanaugh didn't even break a sweat on that throw.
Well, you can see the receiver there had height, and he had length of stride, too, that really got him past P.J. McManus pretty quickly.
Handoff up the middle. Lopez just being pushed forward by his O-line. You can credit that gain a little more to, looks like, Ryan Dwinnels more than Lopez on that play. 5-yard gain.
He is a large fellow. That's the left guard. We saw him in warm-ups. He's a beefy guy, and that's what you need on the O-line when you're trying to run it up the middle.
Unfortunately for Ashland, he's a senior, so they don't have him for much longer. Kavanaugh drops back, fires a laser. Caught and still on his feet, finally tackled. That's Jake Latessa inside the 15.
It's another 20-yard gain. Well, Ashland is moving the ball very easily right now. They've gotten 50 yards out of just 2 pass plays.
You saw Kavanaugh kind of sidearm his throw there, trying to get that right height on it. 8:15 left in the first quarter. Handoff up the middle to Lopez. He takes the option outside, and he's hit before he can get in.
Giving the receivers a little bit of a breather there. They've just been running these deep patterns, and it's gone run, pass so far.
Well, every run for Lopez has been a counterplay where he starts off in one direction, goes the other, and it's fooled the Sharon D-line every time. They're inside
Empty
the
backfield.
10.
Empty backfield. It's a pass
Kavanaugh
here.
rolls right, and we've got a penalty.
Well, at least a stoppage. I
Well,
didn't see a flag.
there's a flag down on the far sideline. It's hard to see from here. It's a little left of where our camera's panning.
We had offsides on the defense. Still second down.
So that should be half the distance to the goal, which will put them inside the 5. 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the first quarter of play. It's 0-0 for now.
Third and about 2, I'm guessing.
If you're just tuning in, thank you for joining us on Sharon Community Television. I'm Jesse Cook, alongside Ben Cook, varsity football from Sharon High School on Friday the 13th, September 2019. Eagles are on defense, and the Ashland Clockers have it 2nd and 1. Kavanaugh lobs a pass to the corner of the end zone and caught with ease. Kevin Russell. A 4-yard touchdown pass.
The height is just making it way too easy. I mean, you could see Kavanaugh, we'll see here on the replay, he pretty much took the ball, just stepped back, and just threw it as high as he could. So Sharon's going to have to find a way to counter that. You can't teach tall, unfortunately. But a pretty easy drive there. 3 of 3 passing and 3 runs for about 11 yards, plus a penalty.
Kick is up. Kick is good. 7-0. Ashland with an impressive drive that went off without a hitch. No incompletions, and every play went for a gain.
Yeah, really nothing that Sharon did stopped them particularly. They kept the runs to somewhat moderate length, but right now Ashland has something that's going to work. Unless Sharon finds a way to double team the tall wide receiver out there on the right, they're going to have problems because when a team does something, like we're about to see here, and you can't slow it down at all. They don't have to go away from it. And you can see just a lob out there into the back corner. Of course, your quarterback has to be somewhat accurate, too, and he was.
Well, one difference between this week and last week is we saw a lot of pressure on the Nauset quarterback last week. Here, they're having a tough time getting through that O-line, and the big man, number 69, Dwindles, is a big part of that. Kick is up, caught, looks like by Owen Conway. He's coming out towards our way, finding his gap, and he's hit by 3 men. But at the 35-yard line, Owen Conway.
No, that's actually P.J. McManus.
Oh, P.J. McManus with the return. And he went far, but he went far a little more laterally than he did up and down the field.
You got a couple nice blocks there, and on special teams you have to have blocking, and otherwise you're just running one guy against 11. And he got a couple of blocks to get some extra yards, and every yard is at a premium here.
6 minutes and 44 seconds remain in the first quarter. Sharon starting their second drive, down by 7. Chandra Sakrin with 1 man behind him. Got a little movement out of that defense before the play, but I think there might have been something on the offensive line too.
Usually when they blow the play dead, it's on the offense. But we'll find out in a second.
And they're already marching back.
No Alec Filipkowski.
He had a false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Yeah, we heard from Alec's dad, Mark Filipkowski, that Alec hasn't been feeling too great lately. He's dressed, he's in uniform. We might see him a little bit, but they're putting his health before his playing time.
He was such a big part of really all 3 phases of the game last week. They're going to have to pick up the slack without him.
Chandra Sakrin stands ready. Man in motion, takes a snap, handoff, and tackled in the backfield. That was Nas to Shara.
Well, it was a sweep to the left, and he thought he had the cutback, but he did not.
2nd and 16, and Sharon, another thing that happened for them in the second half against Nauset that was really great was they got more blocking. They got more protection for their quarterback, and you saw in Chandra Sakrin's pass that to end on 3rd down of their last drive.
Charge timeout, Eagles.
And Sharon takes their 2nd time out of the half. They've only got 1 more. I know you want to save your second half ones more than your first, but
yeah, but you want to get things right. You don't want to let things get out of control here. And right now, the way Ashland looked on offense, Sharon's got to counter with something. They've got to get some momentum going on offense. We saw a lot of positive momentum in the second half last week for the Eagles. You'd like to see them get off to a little quicker start.
Timeout is over.
They got to where their offense was working really well. It just took too long.
That was a nice shot from our cameraman down on the field, Max Goodman, which actually caught us in the picture. Although I think you were a little far back. Hey.
The horror. Wait till the FCC finds out about this.
Chandra Sakrin stands ready. He drops back, and he's under pressure. He's taking himself, dodges the tackle, and Chandra Sakrin gets a nice gain of about 6.
Back to the original line of scrimmage before the penalty. I think he made a great decision there. I don't think that was a designed run, but he saw that he had too much company in the backfield and just had to get out of there. So back to actually, it looks like they're going to call that a gain of 8.
And I'd just like to call attention to a great comment made by our producer and director, Isaac Jarofsky, where after I said that my broadcast partner here, was standing out of that shot from Max, and he said that's what made the shot better. And I'm not gonna lie, me being in the shot alone did look pretty nice.
It hurts. Let me just say that. It doesn't show, but it hurts.
That's only because I hit you. No, I didn't. Chandra Sakrin rolls back outright. He's under pressure. Chandra Sakrin, he fires a lob downfield. Caught! That is caught! Caught! And it's unclear who made the grab. but a leaping play from Owen Conway. Let's
I
take
think that
another
may be
look.
P.J. McManus, but well, Kieran, again, feeling out what he's got to do on this play. I thought he was going to tuck it and run here, and he might have a first down. Decided to throw a jump ball. That is Owen Conway. I take it back.
That might have been a bit of a prayer, but it was a good job by Kieran to hold it out as long as he could. And you know your receivers when you're a good quarterback, and Chandra Sakran clearly knows his receivers and their ability. Otherwise, you throw the ball away there and punt and hope for a good punt.
Well, great timing by Owen to get up and get it there. That's about a 30-yard gain.
Chandra Sakran hands it off, and they're taking a nice outside run, and he drives for a couple of yards. Nice job by Alec Filipkowski.
There he is.
Eagles 2nd and 7.
So we'll call that a gain of 3. And clearly the run defense a little softened up by the big play on the pass.
3 minutes and 30 seconds remains in the first quarter of play. Sharon making their way downfield, and this game was a surprise last week that their passing game was so strong, but maybe we'll see more of this.
It's not just where you throw it, but how you throw it. That was one that you knew he had a tall receiver, and Owen got it up in the air.
Ogbenanzi takes it up the middle for what looks like back to the line. So they got one on that play. And 3rd and 6 now. Ogbenanzi, as we said last week, was one of Sharon's top defenders last year. There was one game where he had 5 tackles, which in high school football is pretty astounding, and he was only a sophomore last year. So we're excited to see what he can do this year, and he didn't take on the position as a running back last year, but since Nick Marrero got hurt, he was their main choice. He stepped up along with Johnny Saab and Alex Filipkowski.
They need the 25 here to keep the drive alive.
Chandra Sakran with 6 yards to go. Drops back, under pressure, rolls left, and he cannot take it himself here. Ball was loose, but he recovered it. A huge sack on the play.
Yeah, lost about
from
8
Andrew Iannarelli.
That's too bad.
That might have been
Marches
4
you
down.
back.
Yeah, might have been 4 down territory if they could have at least stayed at the line.
Well,
but a 10-yard loss is a little much.
Well, looks like they've spotted it. They spotted it.
Oh,
Maybe he was down earlier than we realized. But and it looks like Sharon is still going to go for it here.
Well, when your passing game has been this strong, it's not unreasonable.
Well,
and hopefully their O-line can step up a bit here.
It's too far for field goal range here, and I don't think they want to punt. And now we got some confusion here.
And
Sharon may have burned
that's their last one.
Yeah, all in the first quarter here. They may have burned
Charge timeout,
all
Eagles.
their timeouts.
Well, you need communication.
The Clockers. Ashland is the Clockers, and it seemed an odd name, but the truth is that Ashland is the home of the electric clock. It was invented by an Ashland resident named Harry Ellis Warren. It was a clock that could be officially synchronized because it was running off an electric current that cycled 60 times a minute.
It was sequenced to some direct time in Washington, D.C., but it was formed and gathered together and manufactured, the first one in Ashland, Massachusetts. So
Sharon is the Eagles because Eagles are cool. That's the difference.
Actually, the eagle was invented in Sharon. No. Little known fact, if you didn't know, which I still don't.
4th and 11.
This is a tough one, but they've got the passing unit out there. 2 receivers on either side. Chandra Sakran drops back. He's being given some time. He fires for Alec Filipkowski, but it's a little too far in front of him, and Ashland will take it. Minute 2 left in the first quarter. That was a risk taken by Sharon, and that pass didn't look like the worst. It looked like it was okay, but maybe from Filipkowski's standpoint, when you're being covered closely, and it might have just been too far in front of him.
Well, that's
Ashland
a pass
will take the
that you would throw that earlier in a sequence, not on fourth down, in that it's a pass that couldn't be intercepted. It might have been catchable but not interceptable. Unfortunately, on fourth down, that doesn't do you a whole lot of good because you turn the ball over on downs anyway. And Ashland's offense looked pretty formidable last time.
Handoff up the middle. It's Lopez, and he barrels through the Sharon defense for a 5-yard gain. 2nd and 5. And Eddie Lopez is taking it.
Well, let's see if this pattern continues. On the last drive, it was literally run, pass, run, pass, run, pass. 3 of them in a row.
A little confusion on the clock. The clock didn't run on the last play, so now they're running it down to 56 seconds.
Getting a lot of help from the coaching staff on the sideline, all of whom are frantically pinwheeling their arm around like the clock should be running.
And the Ashland quarterback, Kavanaugh, getting a little bit of clarification from his coach, but they've still got time to play. That head coach is Andrew McKay. Kavanaugh drops back under pressure, rolls right. He's going to take it himself. And he gets the first down. A huge gain. 10 yards.
Tackled by Sam Freeman.
Well, the gain, while the yardage may not have been huge exactly, the impact of that is when Sharon, their D-line gets to the quarterback, they prevent him from throwing, which is what they've been trying to do all night, and he still gets away. That's major for Ashland to show that they can do that. They're running the clock out in the first half. 1 second left, and there you go. So,
well, like you said, yeah, that was a glimmer of hope there for the Sharon defense because they got into the backfield. They really stopped. I mean, that was designed to be a pass play, obviously, for Ashland, and they kept it from being so. Unfortunately, the quarterback's legs took him to the first down anyway.
Well, Ashland played a very productive first half. Sharon did not play bad football in the first half. Their offense looked a little unorganized, which was the bane of their game last week.
You're talking about today? This is only the first quarter.
Oh, my bad. I said half.
Got somewhere to be?
Yeah, the post-game show. No.
Yeah.
And Sharon, once they got organized against Nauset last week, they were well underway. They had their game plan together.
Well, I thought that a lot of it actually was improvised. A lot of their better plays were the quarterback making the play happen. It wasn't necessarily the design of the play. That's not, of course, that's not how football ever works. You don't just design a play and you have one receiver and one option and it just works perfectly. It takes checking down and reacting to what the defense is doing. That's much of what they succeeded at last week.
Now the all-important moment in a football game where the teams change the side of the field. It only happens about 3 times. It's really incredible. If you can't sense my sarcasm because you can't see me, that's sarcastic. Handoff up to Lopez. There's a flag on the play, probably on the defense. Lopez gets about 2 yards, but they're going to be marching it a bit further forward, I think.
Offsides.
Oh, we know that right away.
So it's an either-or game. You either take the 5 yards for offsides or you take the 2 yards for the play. Is that? But they're marching it back.
We had an illegal formation on the offense. Repeat first down.
All right, so we were wrong. As we said earlier, you usually don't see the play continue. The referees let the play continue when it's on the off. When the penalty's on the offense.
Yeah, this was wasn't a false start. It was an illegal formation. You got to wait till the play starts before you throw the flag there. I'm not sure what was illegal about it. Nobody's standing on their head or anything.
I was. Kavanaugh rolls left, fires across his body. It's caught, and that's Russell. Actually, that's Latessa for a big 12-yard gain.
No, it's more than that. He got all the way down to the 38-yard line. This was a play that started about on the other 43. That's going to be a 19-yard gain. And a lot of it, yak, as they call it, yards after the catch, where he cut back against the defense.
Yeah, well, that was a great move by Latessa. You see, he caught it, stopped, and just turned on his heels and switched it up on the Sharon defense. Handoff up the middle to Lopez, and he's finding his gap. He gets around, breaks a few tackles, finally taken down by Agbananzi at the 14. And if you're Sharon, you have to be expecting that first down run. They've done it every time.
Yeah, they're not really having a lot of success slowing anything down right now. We have an injury on the field, which we'll take care of when we come back live here.
Injury timeout.
Really, Ashland has not had an unsuccessful play yet, other than the one penalty. What I've got is looks like 6 runs for 48 yards and 4 of 4 passing for about 73. So when you hit on every single play on offense, that's going to be a problem. They're just Sharon is going to have to find a way to do something, disrupt something, take away something that they want to do. If you can, I mean, my feeling is if you can slow down the run, passing game is always where there's more of a chance of a mistake. You can get an interception or something like that. So maybe if Sharon can find a way to slow down this running game,
Timeout is over.
they'll get a chance to recoup their losses against the pass. But
Yeah.
right
Well-
now, this is not real close right now.
Well, the main factor in their running game thus far has been that Sharon really just can't see Lopez. By the way, that was Ike Agbananzi getting injured. A huge piece for Sharon. And Kavanaugh rolling out right, finds his receiver inside the 5.
Good disruptive defense there by Xavier Davis.
And that looks like Brian Gazzard with the grab. That's the first we've seen of him tonight. 10:20 left in the first half. Ashland leads 7-0. And they've got it deep into Sharon territory.
Yeah, they're down to the 8-yard line here in case you can't. Oh, we got a better camera angle than we have a live angle there.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Handoff, tackled at the line of scrimmage. Great diving play
I think he got a
by
few.
Johnny Saab. Well, that was Jake Troutman on the run.
That is going to bring up a third down, despite
3rd and 1.
the fact that he picked up a couple of yards. Maybe Sharon can stop him here.
Lopez is on the sideline right now. They might just be resting him, but looks like he's doing a bit of stretching. He's number 26 for the Clockers. Kavanaugh drops back, fires a bullet pass, caught in the end zone. Touchdown for Kevin Russell. What was that? You think a 4-yard grab? 4-yard grab?
I think they were around the 6.
Well, Kevin Russell with his
Sure
second receiving touchdown of the night. Caught it without trouble.
We'll get another look at it here. That was, he had a lot of options there. They ran 4 wide receivers out there, and all he had to do was look across the field and see who he had open. Nice job.
Kick is up. Kick is good.
And the kick from Andre Anastasiou is good. Giving Ashland 14.
So Sharon will go back on offense, and they certainly did a lot better on their first drive was a 3 and out. Second drive, they moved the ball down the field. They just didn't quite get into scoring range. And I think, quite frankly, this is a team that looks like on offense they're going to be really tough to slow down. And the fact is, you're going to have to open up your own offense and take some chances and see if you can pick up some big chunks of yardage. Haven't shown yet that you could run the ball. Oftentimes, you hear teams when they're playing against the Patriots, for example, when they're playing against Tom Brady, they would always say the way to beat Tom Brady is to keep him on the sideline. How do you keep him on the sideline? Well, you use up a lot of clock by running the ball. But if you're going to do that, you have to get a lot of first downs. Sharon hasn't picked up first downs on the ground yet. They've done it through the air.
Well, Sharon gets set for their 3rd kickoff return of the night. The first one was to start the game, and including this one, the last 2 have been touchdowns. Chip shot kick. Caught by McManus, and he's trying to barrel his way up the middle. And he gets to the 36-yard line. Sort
of ran into a brick wall in the middle there. Field position hasn't been the problem for Sharon. They've gotten 3 pretty good kickoff returns.
Coming up on 9:15 left in the first half.
I'll say this, the stands are packed here. Plenty of Ashland folk, but a lot of Sharonites here.
Chandra Sakarin's got 3 receivers to his right. That was Xavier Hackett in motion.
Xavier Davis, I believe.
Xavier Davis, sorry. Handoff up the middle and stopped right away. Yeah, so Xavier Hackett is a former Sharon football player.
That's okay. I understand you mixing them up. That happens when you get older. You start being unable to remember pertinent facts. You just kind of prattle on endlessly about nonsense all the time without stopping or
That sounds
breathing
familiar.
or leaving a break for anyone else to talk ever because you're just addicted to the
Who could
sound
that
of your
be?
own voice and you don't need
What
to breathe.
elderly person around me could be
you
like that?
Pay attention to the game. Okay?
No. Chandra Sakarin, man in motion, fakes the handoff. He rolls out to his left, fires, caught at the 49-yard line. That pickup comes from Connor McLaughlin, the junior.
First down.
McLaughlin sliding for that grab. Gets Sharon a chance to move the chains. 8:30 remains in the second quarter of play.
Second big pass play for Sharon. I wonder if they might open it up more. That's tough to do. When Kieran rolling to the left and then having to throw right-handed is always kind of a tricky proposition.
I don't know, it works on Madden.
Yeah.
Chandra Sakarin throwing across his body for a spectacular play. Hands it off, up the middle, and again stopped. But this time looks like for a 2-yard gain. That one coming from Ike Agbananzi, who we saw injured on defense, being walked off the field. Good to see that he is back.
Got to find a way to get more than 1 or 2 yards on these runs, though. It's just too much pressure on the passing game if you have to pick up a 9, 10, 11-yard first down on third down every time.
Well, Sharon, they've gone up the middle almost every time except for that first drive where you saw Naz Teixeira trying to make that outside run and getting hit right away. So they need better blocking on those outside runs and to make more of those outside runs. Maybe even a counter fumble on the play. Looks like Chandra Sakarin might have fallen back on it.
That was definitely his intent, and he did. But it's a big no gain there. Wasted down.
So 3rd and 8 now.
Someone's hurt down there, too.
And that might be, I don't think that's Kieran Chandra Sakarin. It might be
It's
Ramsey
not.
Thevenin down the play. It's hard to tell. I think I saw a 6 on his jersey. Nope.
Injury timeout.
This will not be a charge timeout. This is an injury timeout.
Well, Ramsey Thevenin is up. I'm still unsure of who that is down on the ground. That is
70. Is that Jaden?
And that's Jaden Williams-Thomas, one of the captains. And he is one of the more important players on this Sharon team. So,
Well, he's shaken up a bit, but it looks like he's going to walk off on his own power. And hopefully nothing too serious.
if he's able to return at some point, it cannot by the
Timeout
rule
is
book be
over.
on this play. Because if you get injured and have to stop play on one play and you think you're fine for the next, doesn't matter. You have to take the next play off. That's
you don't
the rule
remember
in
that.
college and in the NFL.
It's because it used to be abused badly in the NFL with teams that were out of timeouts. Particularly the Buffalo Bills were expert at faking the injury for the timeout.
Chandra Sakarin is just rushed right away. He's trying to make a getaway, but they got his jersey to hold on to him. So Chandra Sakarin goes down for a loss of 1, 4th and 9 from the 50-yard line. So can they afford to bring Cole King out there for the punt?
I think you have to get rid of this ball here. And it looks like they're going to. But I don't think that's Cole. It looks like perhaps Mr. McManus is back there. Is that correct?
I think you're right. He takes the snap. Kick is up and it's blocked. And McManus will pick it back up. He's trying to make a break for it and going further back. Dodges one tackle coming towards us. Dodges two and finally dropped at the 19 and he went backwards. Should have just fallen on it.
Well, that's about where the ball was when he when he recovered it after the block punt. I don't think he lost any additional yardage out of trying to make something out of it, but that just took way too long. That punt's got to get out a lot quicker.
And it was.
And not to mention,
Absolutely
of course,
rejected.
it is difficult when you get two. I mean that was blocked by two Ashland clockers right there, not one.
Yeah, Andrew Iannarelli and Jake Tolan coming in on that block. Tolan, who almost had a block on Sharon's first punt earlier. 5:54 remains in the first half, and Ashland is getting good starting position. Latessa in motion, and the screen pass to him going along the far sideline. Latessa cannot break free, but he gets himself a good chunk of yardage and moves the chains. First and goal.
Yeah, that's a play we haven't seen them run yet.
Injury time out.
It almost looked like he was setting up for one of those halfback option plays where he was getting ready to throw it. That was a nearly backwards pass, but of course we've seen that from the Patriots with Julian Edelman, even last week.
And another Sharon injury. Their defense really taking a hit.
Well, Sharon also, in case if you get a shot of both sidelines at some point during this game, they just don't have as many bodies on the team as some larger schools do. And that's why so many of Sharon's best players are two-way players. They play off.
Timeout is over.
Not to mention special teams. They just don't have an extra 30 or 40 players to throw out there.
Well, there's no longer Pop Warner football in Sharon, which could be part of this, where you have fewer players coming to this team because fewer people have ever played football before. Kavanaugh sets his offense. 5:20 left in the first half. 14-0 Ashland over Sharon. Fakes the handoff, and Kavanaugh breaks free towards the end zone and tackled in. So Kavanaugh, an 8-yard run for the touchdown.
It was a great fake, and again they've got that. Ashland's got that big, tall offensive line. Hard to see what's going on with the ball back behind it. A couple members of the Sharon defense sniffed it out and went after him. In fact, that was a pretty heroic effort by Xavier Davis at the end there. He did bring him down, but just a foot or two too late.
Extra point is good. 21-0 with 5:04 remaining in the first half. And a bit of a mist descending on Sharon, a literal mist. You can see it reflected in the lights. It's a little hard to tell on our cameras, but it's giving us a very picturesque view of the field. Although maybe the natural-esque lighting will bring Sharon some inspiration to come back.
Right now, you hope that mist will settle in front of the scoreboard. We don't want to see that right now. You want to see, I mean, look, there are games that are tough matchups for anyone, but you just want to see Sharon keep making some strides, moving in the right direction, getting something that they can take out of this and get back into this game.
Well, we're right next to Foxborough. The professional team there has some pretty good
Don't
comebacks.
invoke the 28-3. Come on.
This is 21-0. This is far more
I know.
doable.
You can't do that
4
every
more
time.
points. And that kick is chipped towards Ike Agbanezi, and he just falls on it at the 28-yard line.
You know, it was the ugliest kick they've had, but it was the most effective. Sharon's field position is less than it was on the other drives. Generally been starting in the mid-30s. This will be at the 28.
Just under 5 minutes remaining now in the second quarter. Sharon hoping that they can break for a big drive. Their passing has worked to some degree. It's just not working every time. Sean DeSacren's not getting enough room.
Yeah, he's
not getting enough time.
He's not getting enough time a lot of the time. He's making good things happen when he does. And looks like Jaden is back in at left tackle, so that's good news for him.
They need him. And also, Ashland only rushing 4 on this play. Sean DeSacren drops back, fires. It's Conway taken down for a nice gain. Looks like, what, 7 yards?
7 yards to Owen Conway. We'll take that.
Second and three.
Three of 5 passing for Kieran. So
that's pretty good to start.
there's no problem with the 3. We got a problem with the 5. You need to keep getting him opportunities. These drives have to continue.
Well, if it were 3 for like 18, that we would have a problem for that.
I was told there would be no math.
I don't know how to count. Which number is 1? 4?
Second and 3.
B? Blue. Chandrasekaran looks on the near hash marks. Men in motion, handoff to Johnny Saab, and Saab makes some headway for a yard.
He's close to the first down.
That is I think they're calling it a 3-yard gain. It might be 3rd and inches. 1.5 yards. 3:40 remains in the first half. Sharon trying to make some headway. They'll be kicking off to start the second half. So
3rd and 1.
They really need some points.
3rd and 1 is something you got to find a way to pick up.
Well, a blitz coming from Ashland. So Chandrasekaran, it's a wonder that he's not taking the snap from further back. And he's going to take it himself. Chandrasekaran breaks for the first. And slammed to the ground at the 41. But that is a gain for a first down. They're moving the chains. Coming up on 3 minutes left, though. Sharon is marching.
Enthusiastic reaction from the crowd here. Always supportive.
Well, the Sharon crowd has shown up. The student body is packed in, overflowing their section of seats. The Ashland student body size here is pretty sizable as well, but Sharon has shown up.
We'll talk more about Ashland later.
Chandrasekaran drops back, fires a bullet pass to Conway, and he gets to the first. Inbounds, though.
Same play they ran before. If it worked before, keep it coming.
Well, that comebacker route from Conway has been dynamic for Sharon. And also, just recall that he was the man who made that great grab back on that 3rd and long earlier, leaping into the air on Chandrasekaran's almost desperation throw on the far sideline.
That's the danger of covering man coverage too close. As soon as Owen sticks his foot in the ground and turns around, he's open.
Well, Sharon certainly has a lot of good athletes. Chandrasekaran drops back, and he is grappled back onto the Sharon side of the field. That is a loss of 5.
Nice to see the officials blow the whistle quickly on that. That was a problem that I sort of had last week. In last week's games, it seemed like there were a lot of times where Kieran got wrapped up and they just let it play out until he ended up really getting manhandled.
Chandrasekaran lobs it for Conway. Conway is knocked out of the play. Pass interference, and Sharon's going to get some yards.
Boy, if that's what the call is, they got a little bit fortunate. Ball was underthrown.
Well,
but clearly you could see the cornerback did body him out of bounds. So, and they're moving the ball all the way up there. That's going to be a costly penalty from the 50 up to around the 30 or so.
I don't mean to show bias towards Sharon, like more so than we usually do, just because
we had defensive pass interference.
But
15-yard penalty, first down.
But I did think that was going to happen. I think that was the correct call, though the ball was a little underthrown.
You'll see here. Yeah, Owen was trying to come back for the ball, and I think the thing that made that a callable or a penalized play is that the defender really wasn't looking back for the ball.
Yeah, Arshad Ahmed really got in the way of Conway on that play and shouldered him off.
Unlike the pros, they don't give it at the spot of the foul. They give you 15
Whoa,
yards.
and Chandrasekaran, well, Ashland gained some of that yardage back.
A lot of it.
A huge 9-yard sack. So
I think they're going to put the ball back where he first got hit. So about a 7-yard loss there.
Sharon needs to move a little faster. We're coming up on a minute left, and they don't have any timeouts.
Yeah, they've got to heave the ball down the field pretty soon here. Or at least get into kicking range. see if they can get their kicking team out there quickly.
We're under a minute left. Chandrasekharan might go for some larger throws. He's rolling out left. Good blocking from Saab. And that's about a 4-yard gain. So 40 seconds left. Sharon needs to run some hurry-up offense and try for a nice maybe 10 or even 15-yard gain down the sideline. Try to stop the clock.
They're
under 30 seconds now.
Going without a huddle. I think it's getting close to Hail Mary time here. At least go to the sideline here. You got to go to the sideline.
Drop back, fires a lob towards the sideline. Caught, but he's inbounds.
No. They're going to stop the clock.
Well, that might be an incompletion. He might have been out of bounds when he caught it. Yeah, McManus was out of bounds when he caught that ball. So no gain at all. 4th and 13.
A rare incompletion. That's only the third one for Kieran.
And it really wasn't an incomplete. It was complete, just not in the right place. Yeah,
Well,
McManus made that dive and grab, and I think his knees hit the ground first, then his knees hit the ground before his feet. Can't get that Julio Jones toe tap every time.
This is 4th and 13 here, so no matter what, you got to throw this ball down the field.
And a blitz. Actually, probably some prevent coming from Ashland. Nope, a blitz. Chandrasekharan rolls right. He fires and picked off. Still in bounds. That's Lacetta. 3, 2, 1. He goes down. But that will do it for the half. It looks like they might add a second back on. We'll see what the referees decide. Either way, I think it's going to be just a knee coming from
I don't
Ashland.
think the interception hurts. It's just the lack of scoring.
Yeah.
Halftime.
So, after one half of football, it's 21-0 Ashland over the Eagles. And we'll be back for the second half of football. And hopefully Sharon can make some sort of comeback. We'll be back on Sharon Community Television. Hi, I'm Jesse Cook, and this is Ben Cook. We're live on the sideline for Sharon Community Television. Halftime of the Sharon-Ashland football game, September 13th, a Friday night, 2019. And thus far, what we've seen is Ashland put up 21 points and Sharon put up 0. But we saw a good progression from Sharon on their last drive. They just ran out of time on the clock and had to get a little desperate. But their passing game has looked pretty strong late in the game. What are your thoughts on what's happened so far?
Well, they're probably, on Sharon's side, they're a big play here and there away from getting themselves onto the scoreboard. Imagine a couple of those drives that went down the field but didn't make it to the end. If maybe they get a better starting point for field position, that would help. As far as Ashland goes, obviously they're a great team, well coached. They have a lot of they have players in roles to which they're suited. We were just talking about this. They got a tall quarterback who's strong and accurate. They got tall receivers who are fast, who have a long stride. They have powerful running backs, and they're playing really well on defense too. And one thing I notice about them, in contrast to last week's game where we saw another kind of powerful team in Nauset really shot themselves in the foot with penalties, and this team is not committing a lot of flags either.
Well, yeah, the penalties can really make or break a game, and we just haven't seen a whole lot of them. There was that pass interference at the end of the first half, but that didn't make a huge difference as Sharon didn't score. But as you said, Dominic Kavanaugh is huge at quarterback. Kevin Russell, the wide receiver who has 2 touchdowns in this game, has been spectacular, and he is huge. And then, of course, Eddie Lopez, the running back, who I don't know how it looks from the field, but I'm assuming that it's kind of hard to see him over that big O-line. Not to mention that Eddie Latessa has some height to him, too, and he's been showing up. He had that interception. He has been the target of some key passing plays. On the Sharon side, sure, P.J. McManus and Owen Conway have shown up, and Kieran Chandrasekharan is really proving to us that he's a mobile quarterback who's got some great accuracy and power, but the height is just one of the defining factors that you're going to see Ashland really pull away with. And
I thought also you talked about the quarterback and the receiver for Ashland. They've hooked up on some big plays, and they've done it kind of effortlessly, where you can see Kavanaugh just drops back, throws a jump ball up in the air, knows that his receiver has a height advantage, and as long as he puts it in the corner of the end zone, it's going to work out for him. That's difficult for Sharon, and also they're battling a lot of injuries. Last week's game was all about Alec Filipkowski. He's not feeling well today and can't be a huge contributor. And we've seen injuries on the offensive line. We've seen injuries on the defense. It's going to be tough for Sharon. They're going to have to ask for a lot from a few.
Well, Sharon's got a tough hill to climb. 21 points is not an easy task, but who knows? Football is a great game, but it's full of mystery. And Friday the 13th, crazy things can happen. So hopefully Sharon will be able to come back and make this game. They certainly showed us some good stuff at the end of that first half and just throughout the game in general. We'll be back for the third and fourth quarter of football here from Sharon High School.
Hey, you think they could dub in like a wolf howling right when you said Friday the 13th? That would be cool.
If they could dub you out, that'd be pretty good. And we are good to go for the third quarter of play here from Sharon. If you are just tuning in, I'm Jesse Cook alongside Ben Cook, Sharon Community Television. Friday the 13th of September, night game 2019. The Sharon Eagles are at home versus the Ashland Clockers. And Ashland leads Sharon 21-0. And Sharon is kicking off to start the half. Alec Filipkowski on the boot. That's up. Off the bouncer, picked up around the 15. Getting some blocking, but a huge play from Mikey Ogbenanzi was not enough. So Ogbenanzi came out of nowhere, but Jordan Barboza came through. Now Ashland getting set for their first drive of the second half, and they were successful every time in that first half.
Their quarterback, Danny Kavanaugh, was 7 of 7 for 96 yards. That's what I got. That's unofficial. That's with me counting with my shoes still on.
Kavanaugh fires outright, another completion, and still on his feet. Finally tackled. That's Brian Gazzard, who made a nice play earlier. And yeah, Kavanaugh playing a great game. You know, that's 96 more yards than I've thrown tonight.
Yeah.
Well, now 102.
And a lot of them have really been through the air. You know, sometimes you get those gaudy passing statistics by throwing a shovel pass and then somebody runs for 20 yards. But he's really aired the ball out and with great success.
Kavanaugh with a man in motion. Fakes. He does hand it off. Trying to find a hole, but he can't get anywhere. Tackled for a loss.
That's the best play of the game by the Sharon defense.
And
that was number 28, Johnny Saab. As we haven't seen Ashland try to run that kind of sweep, and it did nothing for him.
Well, finally, you see Jake Latessa go down without making a huge impact. Every time he's touched the ball tonight, except for that time, which actually hasn't been many times, he's made a good impact for Ashland.
See if Sharon can stand up on 3rd and 4.
Kavanaugh immediately backing up and rolling right. He fires a lob downfield. Knocked away! Good defense from the quarterback, Kieran Chandrasekaran. He's doing everything.
Let's see what Ashland will do here. It's 4th and 4. They're on their own side of the field. Looks like they are going to punt.
And another great look at that play. Chandrasekaran just punching it out of the air.
Well, that was a play that, had it succeeded, would have been pretty profound for Ashland. But let's see here. It looked like they were bringing on a. It looked like they were bringing on a separate unit, and they are. There's their punter in the back.
That's the first time we've seen him, but some motion for Ashland, maybe getting a few more blockers as Sharon looks prepared to rush the punter. Kick is up.
Nearly blocked.
No hitch. It's on the ground, and Sharon will get their start from about the 31.
Xavier Davis was in the backfield, made him kick that ball maybe a little higher, and that's why it hung up there and wasn't necessarily returnable. But the first force by Sharon of Ashland to surrender the ball. They'd scored on their previous 3 possessions.
Well, we said this would be important earlier, but you know what Sharon did on that drive? They stopped the run. Sure, Chandrasekharan's play on defense was very important, but Latessa's run went nowhere, and that really put a halt to their progress on that drive. Chandrasekharan takes a snap.
Filipkowski's
Draws
in.
back a little. The pass caught by McManus, and a huge gain all the way to the 28.
40 yards.
43-yard gain for the Eagles. Chandrasekharan hit his man. Or a 41-yard gain.
He had a couple
Take
of
another
options
look,
there,
yeah.
and he chose the right one. Took the deep ball, saw that his man had just streaked past really all of the defenders. Great job by P.J. McManus to just stick with the play, keep running straight, run that go pattern, and hope the ball finds you.
We're seeing McManus everywhere tonight, really filling in for Filipkowski, and we've got something on the play.
For the first time tonight,
Judge,
Ashland's had
timeout,
to call a
Ashland.
timeout.
Well, Sharon is making them work.
That
Sharon
play
showed it.
also, if I can pretend that I'm in the huddle there, that looked like for one of the first times this year where a big play was the play that was designed. It wasn't just that that Kieran figured something out and made something out of nothing. That was the play. The play was to send him deep, and let's see if we can hit a home run.
Well, head coach Dave Morse for Sharon really making a great call to try to get that leading pass. And you don't see that work all the time even in the NFL. But Sharon pulling out a real unexpected play. 9:46 remains in the third quarter.
Well, clearly that's why Ashland had to call a timeout.
And Filipkowski taking it around the outside. Dives for what's looked like 2-yard gain. 3 yards.
Good to see Alec in there. Sharon's got to keep this drive going here. They are down, well, not quite in the red zone yet, at about the 26-yard line of Ashland.
This is about where they got at the end of the first half, and this time they don't have the clock working against them. Chandrasekharan hands it off to Johnny Saab. Saab gets a little ways back, and the ball, it looks like the ball might have come out, and Ashland will take it on the fumble, so Sharon's progress.
Fumble, white ball.
Man, that's a bit demoralizing for Sharon, but accidents happen, but the positive thing is Sharon managed to stop Ashland on the previous drive, so maybe they can get that going again.
Yeah, definitely. You hate to turn the ball over, but mostly positive what happened there. Here's Kavanaugh.
He fires it deep for Russell, but just beyond him, and that is their second incompletion of the night, their second in a row.
Well, they're going for the home run, as Sharon did, and it's great when it works, but it is a low percentage play. That was very close. I mean, really just a matter of 6 inches or so beyond his outstretched fingertips. Nice coverage on the man defense by Sharon there.
Yeah, so we're beyond that perfect game for Kavanaugh. Russell was just a little behind that throw. 8:53 remains in the third quarter. Kavanaugh, after the flip, hands it off to Lopez, who goes down for a small gain.
Looks like about 5 yards.
Okay, not that small gain, and that was not Lopez, that was Eddie Braganka.
Braganka, right. We were schooled on that before the game. We asked a couple members of the Ashland coaching staff if there were any difficult to pronounce names on this team. They gave us Braganka.
Handoff up the middle does not get very far, so Sharon gets another stop.
Looked like Xavier Davis, perhaps. That'll be 4th down. Ashland looks like they're going to play. Maybe they're unaware of the down, but they've got 4th and 4 here.
Well, they're kind of hurrying it up, so maybe they're trying to catch Sharon off guard. And there you go, the timeout. So they're going to bring out the punting unit.
Timeout, Ashland.
Right, but they've now spent 2 timeouts here in the first 4+ minutes of the second half.
Well, it's a little cocky from Andrew McKay to do that because I think he figures that they're up by 21 points. What's that going to matter? Maybe they just want to try to practice running all these tendency-breaking plays.
Well, I think the time has come to talk about Ashland. And I found something very interesting about Ashland as I checked on Wikipedia today. If you look on Wikipedia, 5
Timeout is
are
over.
listed from the town of Ashland. 4 of them look to be legit, including the former owner of the Boston Braves.
All five.
The 5th one that's listed on Wikipedia is Adam L. Fink, who is listed as a 5th dimensional sorcerer. He's from Ashland. I did not know Ashland was in the 5th dimension. I remember the group, the 5th Dimension. They sang Up, Up, and Away.
Okay. That is fascinating. Philip Kowski is just going to fall on it.
5th Dimensional Sorcerer. It's on Wikipedia, Jesse. It can't be wrong.
I'm not disputing that, per se.
We're not talking about a regular 3D sorcerer. We're talking about 5. The 5th dimension, okay?
So what was he, like a wide receiver?
I don't know. I do not know. All I know is I attempted to find out some interesting facts about Ashland, and I came up with a bunch of stuff about the railroad and about the electric clock and the 5th dimensional sorcerer.
Man, the railroad, that's really interesting.
Railroad is in the 3rd dimension. It pretty much operates in only 1 dimension.
Oh.
So
That's a shame.
Sharon Ball on the 33.
Chandra Saker and 3 receivers to his right. He's got Agbananzi behind him. And he hands it off to Ike, who has a spin move to start the play, and he's muscling his way forward for about 5 yards.
That's called... Is it 5? It looked a little shorter than that to me. They're going to call it 4 up on the scoreboard there.
Well, that was close.
Sharon's got to keep going like they did on their last drive. No turnover this time.
And no letting the ball go into the 5th dimension.
That would be difficult.
Well, it would be difficult to recover from. I don't know. Ashland seems to have a pretty strong link to that. So maybe getting it there wouldn't be that bad.
Does the electric clock work in the 5th dimension?
More importantly, do polka dots. Chandra Sakerin being chased, fires it, short-armed, caught, but I think that won't go for very much.
Yeah, but he was about to be decked in the backfield, and he's going to get them close to a first down. A gain of 3 or 4 there.
P.J. McMahon is limping off the field after that catch, though, so a scary sight for Sharon, as that would make now 3 key players sidelined for them. Philip Kowski, who has not been entirely out of the game tonight.
Well, good pocket presence from Kieran, though, to know. I mean, he had a defender running right up his back there, and he turned what could have been a big sack into a 3-yard gain and a chance to convert here on 3rd and 3.
Sharon gets set. 6:15 remains in the 3rd quarter, and they're making some progress. They got 3 yards on that play. So 3rd and 3.
They need the 43 here.
And a blitz coming from Ashland. Chandra Sakerin rolls right. He might have some room. He fires a lob, and almost a one-handed grab by Phil Kowski on the sideline. But I have to believe that Sharon's probably going to try and go for it again here. They can't really afford to turn the ball to Ashland's side of the field again.
I don't see them going anywhere. Kieran is going to check with the coaching staff. That wasn't a bad attempt there. The ball just a little too far out of bounds. Alec would have had to have been Julio Jones to come down with that, well, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Well, that was actually good placement by Sean Sakerin, because that ball could have been easily picked off.
You can't get picked off there.
And he just found the right spot. It wasn't the perfect spot, but maybe there was no perfect spot on that play.
Here we go. This is This is Chansey here. 4th and 3 on your own side of the field.
Chandrasekharan drops back, getting good blocking. He rolls right under pressure. He's going to take it himself. Kiran Chandrasekharan reaches for the first down, and he got it.
Wow.
Kiran Chandrasekharan using every last inch of his body to reach the marker. They're going to talk about this, but let's take a look and see. Did he get it?
I'm not sure if they're going to give him this or not.
Official timeout for measurement.
They're going to measure this ball.
And
you can see him stretch at the end there. I'm not sure. And of course, with the benefit of instant, they don't have an instant replay to see where his knee was, and he's not.
Oh, and
looks like he's going to come up just short. Nice,
that is tough.
Nice camera angle there.
And that. Sometimes
First down,
just
Ashland.
like that. Sharon got so close on that play. Chandrasekharan really just stretching himself to get to that first down marker. And
I like the strategic engagement, too. I mean, he knows what he's doing there. This is not just to run the ball as far as you can. This is find the stick, stretch out, and try somehow to get the nose of the ball over it. He was close. I'll make another arcane historical reference. It reminded me of Kevin Dyson at the end of the Titans-Rams Super Bowl.
I had a feeling you were coming up with this. He mentions it every time we watch football. Kavanaugh rolling right. He's running with it. He's getting some moves on the Sharon defense, and he gets about 7 yards. Dominic Kavanaugh having a great night. 5:35 remains.
Ashland has a yearly Thanksgiving game against Hopkinton. Hopkinton is their traditional rival.
And that's actually who they have as their next game 2 weeks from now. They'll be in Hopkinton, who is currently 0-1. Sharon's next game is also about 2 weeks from now. Kavanaugh up the middle. He's tackled. Looks like he might have gotten the first down. Yeah, Sharon's.
Doesn't look like it. I think Xavier Davis may have gotten him short there.
Well, Davis has played good defense all night, and he's really kept a good check on Kavanaugh.
Great tackle there. When you tackle a guy from behind and prevent him from going forward at the same time. It's going to set up a third, and actually they're calling it 3rd and 2.
And as I was saying, Sharon's next game is also 2 weeks from now on the 27th. They'll be back here at home against Milford. And then
No game next week?
no game next week. I don't see any games next week for any team. Might be some sort of league-wide holiday. Kavanaugh,
Fake.
an unusual manner of faking. He gets the first down. Nice play by Gazzard to get to the 20. Kavanaugh, that's an interesting fake sequence he goes through.
Worked
He
perfectly.
turns around and stands still. And the Sharon pass rush hasn't been the best we've seen tonight. So he's getting a lot of time for that play action.
There it is. He fakes it with his left hand, keeps it in his right hand, throws it out, and he got about 15 yards. Now we're live, and he misses there, heading for the end zone.
Almost picked off again by Chandrasekharan.
That was one of his sloppier passes. He's been pretty unassailable for most of this game, but that one went nowhere.
4:09 remains in the third quarter of play. Ashland leads the Eagles 21-0. The Sharon crowd has not dwindled in size, and they're all still on their feet. Handoff up the middle. Oh, and a key block opened him up, but Sharon broke through the rest of the way. The blitz got to the rush. Ramsey Thevenin coming in huge on the tackle. Number 61 you see on the left side of your screen.
Only 2 of 3 passing so far in the second half for Ashland. Of course, with a big lead, you just as soon run the ball as much as you can.
Ashland sets shotgun formation. Man in motion. Kavanaugh rolls right. He's looking for the pass, and he finds it up the middle of the way, but dropped. So a lucky break for Sharon on the underthrown pass. That puts us at 3rd and 10. The pass was intended for Latessa. Now it's 4th and 10 now. But Ashland has not brought a kicker onto the field. They're going to go for it on 4th and long. 3:18 remains in the third quarter of play. Ashland leads 21-0.
Well, this would be a long field goal for high school. It would be about a 36-yarder.
Kavanaugh drops back. Little pressure on him. He lobs it into the corner of the end zone. Toe tap, couldn't hold on. So Sharon will take it from the middle of their own side of the field.
It looked like it was at Owen Conway perhaps on the coverage, and it was a good throw, but in order to get the receiver, you had to lead him a little out of bounds because Owen was covering to his other side. So Sharon gets a stop here. That's nice. In the first half, remember, Kavanaugh was 100% on passes. Second half, 2 of 7.
Well, he is being a little more experimental with his passes. Sharon's figured out the
Some of
Ashland
them,
offense.
not all. A couple of them have been underneath.
But Latessa would have had to have acted like Michael Jackson and beat it to make that grab. Standing on his toes. Sean DeSacrin fires it towards the near sideline. Caught! Caught by Owen Conway,
but
out of bounds. And that is unfortunate. Conway leaping into the air, catching it in double coverage, forcing his hands through the open arches of his defender, but it's all for naught.
I'm not even sure how he got up there in the middle of a couple of Ashland bodies. Just a tiny bit out of bounds.
Well, you need his back hit the ground first. And that's
I think
really
his feet were out of bounds too. But great play. He was the coverage on the play before where Ashland failed to score a touchdown, and he almost came down with a miracle grab right there.
Well, he's also proving to both Sean DeSacrin and head coach Morse that he's a viable target, that he can make those spectacular grabs. Sean DeSacrin rolling left. Heavy pressure. Fires the bullet pass. Caught by Filipkowski for the first. At the 34-yard line. Sean DeSacrin again throwing across his body. Finds Filipkowski on the sideline.
That might be Alex's first catch of this game.
And as you can see, Sean DeSacrin really making the great throw in motion, turning himself to get him parallel to Filipkowski for the throw, and Filipkowski caught it in the crook of his arm and had enough room to stay in. 2:30 remains in the third quarter. Sharon hoping to get on the board.
That's 2 straight catches really that were just like really threading the needle too, if you count Owen's catch, that even though it was out of bounds.
Ashland is forcing Sean DeSacrin to do a lot, and he's meeting the task now. Sean DeSacrin option up the middle. And it looks like a 9 or 10-yard run. Johnny Saab really sold the fake. And Sean DeSacrin had that gap up the middle and went for it. Well, as you can see, he just books it.
Ashland has run that play, the fake, and Sharon gave it back to him right there. That was a good one.
Minute 45 remains in the third quarter. If you're just tuning in, it's 21-0. Ashland Clockers over the hometown Sharon Eagles. Third quarter play. I'm Jesse Cook alongside Ben Cook, Sharon Community Television. Friday night, September 13th, 2019. Sean DeSacrin takes the snap, and he takes it himself again. Sean DeSacrin being grappled by the jersey, thrown down hard, but the joke's on Ashland. Sean DeSacrin is fine, and he gets the first to the 49-yard line. Let's take another look.
Well, the truth is, really, I know he's a runner now, even though he's a quarterback, but those kind of tackles, I think, even in the NFL, are really often penalized now. That throwing someone into the ground once you've got them wrapped up. I know it's a fast-paced game, and it's hard to think in those terms. You're just trying to bring the guy down, but
well. The case for a lot of players, especially, I don't know about Ashland on the Sharon side, is that a lot of them are also part of the wrestling team. And so, yeah, I think they try to make some transfer. And wrestling, you have to throw guys down hard. You have to kind of thrash down there on the mat. And that might be some similar idea for these for these players is that you have to apply the same skill set. Chandra Sakaran in trouble, rolling left, and he takes it himself again, hit hard. Really got crunched at the bottom of that pile, but he managed to get himself a yard. 20 seconds remaining in the third. We'll see if Sharon can get off one more play. And there's an injury on the field for Sharon.
Injury timeout.
That's Jaden Williams-Thomas again. That might be his night. He's getting up under his own power, but I don't think Sharon wants to risk anything.
Well,
with one of their
he's
best
not walking
players.
off under his own power. I think he's may have rolled his ankle or something, but he is working hard. There we go. Now he's on his own. Jaden working hard, trying to block for the running game.
Williams-Thomas is one of the most dedicated players to this team. As I mentioned last week, he posts videos on his Snapchat story and on Instagram of him benching just insane amounts of weight. There was 4 45-pound plates on either side when he was doing his squats.
Wow.
And the bar itself is 45 pounds, so that's one man
That's 400
lifting
pounds right there.
a lot of weight. And they're going to let the clock run out to end the third quarter, 21-0. Ashland leads the Eagles. And while the score might not reflect it, this has been a good game. Sharon again just got off too slow of a start, but they've picked it up lately. They got unlucky with the time at the end of the first half. They had to rush themselves and couldn't get off an organized play. But in the second half, they've been they're one fumble away from being down by down by 2 scores.
The problem at the end of the first half was that they had burned their timeouts, and that's something, as they progress through the season, they have to be a little more organized early in the game, because this really is sort of similar to last week's game. Last week they came back and scored 2 touchdowns in the second half. They haven't yet this week, but they're definitely, they've really turned the tables, especially on defense here in the second half. We're playing, it was a scoreless third quarter. You just hope in the future they're going to find a way to get off to a better start, get off to a start where they maybe are all on the same page a little better.
Chandra Sakaran's got 2 receivers on either side. Running back to his left. Looks like it's Saab. Drops back, fires a laser. Just a little too high for Conway to make the diving comeback grab. Chandra Sakaran might have had a little bit more time on that play than he gave himself, which would have allowed Conway to make that easier grab. It was well placed. It's just that it was too early for him.
We've run that play several times successfully. Just not that time. Second and 9 from midfield.
Chandra Sakaran surveys his domain, looking for a viable option. Drops back. Under pressure, laser, and it's picked off. Jake Latessa, his second pick of the game, and this one could be a touchdown. No, not Latessa. Down to the 17-yard line. Picked off by Matt Gillis. Matt Gillis, a huge play, and Sharon, again, just one turnover away from really breaking free. Let's take another look.
It's funny because Kieran, for once, had some time, and this time he tried to throw it into double coverage there, and no way to thread the needle this time. That's his second interception of the day, technically. One of them was on kind of a desperation play at the end of the first half. Now Ashland with great field position again. Second time they've started inside Sharon's 20-yard line.
Fakes the handoff. Kavanaugh to his left fires, and while he's getting hit, the throw is just a little too far away. And Xavier Davis coming through again with that great pressure on the quarterback, that good pass coverage up front. Force the incompletion, 2nd and 10.
That's the first time we've seen the quarterback really go down. That's 4 straight incompletions for him. And I'm trying to think back to last week too. I don't think we saw a lot of pass rush in the backfield. So Sharon now starting to get a little more pressure into the pocket. See if they can keep that up.
Handoff to Lopez is a fake. Kavanaugh taking it himself. Down just in front of the end zone. Not a score, but down to the 1-yard line and first and goal. Impressive run by Kavanaugh.
They're having a lot of success with that read option, fake it to the running back, run it with the quarterback.
Both teams are, and we've got too many men on the field for Sharon, or a timeout by Sharon. Something was off there.
Well, Ashland tried to run a play really quickly, and certainly Sharon definitely had.
We have a charge timeout to Sharon.
So that is their first timeout of the second half. 11:17 remains, and Sharon had to get their men off the field. And again, there comes in their organization, or lack thereof, really.
No, I don't know if it was organization. It's just you get used to kind of playing at a leisurely pace, and Ashland suddenly decided to exploit it. Have to be ready. Again, I mean, what do I do? How many times do I refer to Tom Brady during one of these broadcasts? Brady's done it a million times.
The number might only be one tonight.
He sees somebody lollygagging his way off the field on defense. He'll just take the snap and air it out, knowing he has a free play because they had 12 men on the field.
Well, Dominic Kavanaugh is certainly playing a great game there at quarterback.
Well,
Maybe trying to take a page out of Brady's playbook.
First half was outstanding, as we talked about. He was 7 of 7, 96 yards. Second half passing, I've got him at 2 of 8 for 21 yards. Now, he's run the ball a bunch of times.
And they're in sneak formation. Kavanaugh pushed forward into the end zone. That's a touchdown. Flag on the play, though. I'm guessing some sort of block in the back or personal foul on Ashland. They're marching back.
Now, this may be another formation.
Back.
You could see the official on the sideline waited until the second the play was run, and then he threw it. Oftentimes that's maybe the end wasn't covered up or some kind of formation violation.
Assisting the runner, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
What was that?
Did I hear assisting? Well, did they pick him up or something? I think you can push your player forward.
You can push, yeah, but you can't climb on someone. He may have climbed on someone's back.
Well, piggyback rides are fun for everyone.
So they're going to push him back 5 yards on the penalty.
11 minutes left.
Football.
Game.
It is funny the things that you can do and things that you can't do.
You can hit a man with all your force, but you can't grab him around the collar. Right,
and you can't step on someone's back or anything. You can pretty much tear someone's head off, but you can't step on someone's back.
That is generally frowned on in regular everyday life. I get called out for it all the time. Handoff to Lopez up the middle. Lopez stopped at the 3.
Ike.
2nd and 6.
No, that was last play was.
That was first down.
I see.
Penalty.
Yes, but
now they're calling it 3rd.
I think that's a mistake.
Yeah. Nope. 2nd. Our scoreboard is having a frenzy. You can see it in the upper left-hand corner, just the bottom sliver of it. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah,
what was
2nd and goal.
There we go. 10 minutes left.
Sometimes when you run a play and then there's a penalty, it's easy to forget that play did not happen, and you retain the same down.
Kavanaugh drops back. Bullet pass. Picked by Sharon.
What a play.
And they take it out of the end zone, and that is luck. Luck of the draw.
Well, it was a great play by Owen Conway, who got there and just knifed the ball out of midair. And there was the term is Johnny on the spot there to intercept the ball. That's
Sharon ball.
That's the best play we've seen out of Sharon on defense. I know I already said that earlier. You can see Owen Conway playing him tight, and that ball pops out right to his teammate.
Looks like that teammate is Kieran Shonda-Sakaran. So the key battery for Sharon is working on both. They're burning both ends of that candle, and that was a great play by Conway, just laying out, and Shonda-Sakaran happened to be there to finish that pick. 9:42 remains in the 4th quarter from Sharon.
Well, Kieran has to turn around right now after the interception and play quarterback.
Yeah, it's got to be weird to catch it, then give it up like that. Give it up as in throw. Shonda-Sakaran, and he's under pressure, dodges the tackle, dodges a few, and he's grappled to the ground with a small gain.
I think he got 5 or 6 yards there.
Sizable gain.
Yeah, what are you with the small gain?
I'm
Come
a
on, glass half full.
Look, I'm a short person. To me, most
Glass
things are huge.
half full.
That I'm allowed to have plays be small.
6 yards is a long way. That's not a small
60
gain.
yards, 70 yards is a small gain. I want at least 94. Is that too much to ask?
At this
No,
point, yeah, because
no.
they're on the 26th.
It's never too much to ask. I want him throwing it out of the end zone. That's how you get more points. Sean DeSacre drops back under pressure.
First down.
Once again he breaks free. And there you go to the 36-yard line. Sean DeSacre is just tearing up this field.
I'll tell you, Sharon has got to find a way in their next game to start the game in the second half because they are just full of life right now. They've been opportunistic on defense. They've gotten quarterback pressures. They've got the interception. They've gotten defensive stops. They got a variety of things happening on offense. They just next week or 2 weeks from now, as you pointed out, they have to start the game. We have to pay off the scoreboard operators to put a third quarter up in the first quarter.
Well, Brandon Grover almost had the tackle on Sean DeSacre in there, but he juked him out and broke his ankles. Sean DeSacre, and that was a low snap. Drops back, fires, that's a completion. And looks like Sharon will get 3 or 4 yards.
Going to call that a 5-yard completion there. Sharon keeps moving the ball up to the 39 now.
Sharon getting set for their next play. Under 7.5 minutes left in the fourth. Sean DeSacre drops back, fires a lob down the sideline. Caught! Owen Conway again! And this is inbounds. Owen Conway
23.
making a mockery of this Ashland defense, leaping all over the place, leaping, diving, reaching, grabbing, and he got it.
Well, he's been the guy, if you want to throw a jump ball down the sideline and if you want to throw a hitch down the sideline, he's been right there. I can only think of one of those plays really that didn't, or two of them that didn't succeed. And he also was the guy who started this drive, of course, making the interception or the deflection in the end zone.
7 minutes left. Sean DeSacre takes the snap. He runs it himself for about, 3 yards? 4. 2nd and 6. We are coming up on 6:45 remaining in the ball game, unless Sharon can pull off some miracle score and double onside kick recovery.
Well, here's what's been missing so far today. They've done a lot of things well. They haven't finished. They haven't, when they get down into the red zone or near the red zone, they've stalled out. So right now, time to show that they can keep it going.
Sharon in their usual setup, 2 wide receivers on each side with a running back next to Sean DeSacre. What is that, Sean DeSacre drops back, fires a bullet pass to Owen Conway.
There it is again.
They're moving the chains. Well, are they? Yes. Take another look at that gain from, once again, Owen Conway.
Again, well, they're recognizing when they're giving him a big cushion like that, when the guy covering him is already retreating and backing up down the field 5 yards away from him, he'll be open.
Sean DeSacre can really read the field. The unfortunate thing he told me earlier today is that he doesn't have cable TV, so he can't view Channel 12. Sean DeSacre drops back, fires again to Conway. And Conway hit a little hard, taken down by 2 men. And we'll just take a quick moment to thank our crew. We've got Warren Smith, Max Goodman, Nate Yaffe, Danny Rubenstein. On camera, Adam Fagarski working the graphics. Lila Grew on replay and audio. And as always, Isaac Jarofsky and Amy Toby directing, producing, putting this all together, driving some people, I'm assuming, taking our equipment, doing everything except for our jobs. Sean DeSacre under pressure, and he's going to be pulled to the ground. That was a bit a little easier of a tackle there. Wasn't so much throwing as much just kind of laying him down.
Well, he's shown he doesn't need tons of time. Okay.
They lose 5.
But he needs some. It's 3rd and 10. Obviously, they're going to keep going here at 3rd and 10, 4th and whatever. They're also this to me is maybe a little bit a more diversified attack than last week. Last week they leaned heavy on senior Alec Filipkowski. Here they've spread it around a bit more.
It's been Conway and McManus this entire night with Ike Ogbenanzi and Johnny Saab getting into the mix.
And the quarterback.
Chandrasekharan under pressure, and can he get it away? No, and that's a big loss of about 12. So 4th and 22 coming up with 4 minutes left. That is rough. 4th and 20. So 4:20 for him.
Again,
Just
this is a drive where they got a lot of they covered a lot of real estate. Maybe if it started
Charge
a little further up the
timeout,
field,
Eagles.
we'd be at the end of it by now.
Timeout called by Sharon with 3:42 on the clock. So 4th and 23 after they make the clarification.
Well, a couple plays in their playbook that are really working well. Obviously, the sideline routes by Owen. And, of course, anytime you get the ball in Alec Filipkowski's vicinity, he makes something happen with it.
Well, Sharon has started the season a little shorthanded. Nick Marrero, as you've probably heard many times now if you watched tonight's game, read anything from the Talon, SHS Nest, or anything of that sort. You heard that Marrero got injured. He's out for the year. And
Timeout is
Sharon
over.
really grasping, they started kind of grasping at straws for who they could put there, and they kind of left out with their decision in Filipkowski, Saab, and Ogbenanzi. Filipkowski especially, and now that he is not feeling well for this game, we've seen very little of him. PJ McManus and Owen Conway have stepped up, and Kieran Chandrasekharan has been consistent in both games, where sure they started off a little shaky with their communication, but he picks it up in the second half, and even when they're shaky with communication, he's using his football knowledge to get all over the field. Chandrasekharan rolls to his left,
Conway
throwing
going
across
deep.
his body, lobs it, and a little too high for Conway. So Ashland will take it with 3:35 on the clock.
I wonder if Kieran maybe thought Owen was going to keep running a go pattern there. Owen came back for the ball, and then it went over his head. He was on the left side this time. Most of his success has come lined up on the right.
Well, tonight has not exactly been Sharon's night. Again, just when things going wrong at the worst time. The first half was just shaky for them in general, and when they finally got it going, it was the end of the first half. Then on their first great drive of that second half here, handoff up the middle, stopped early. Nice play by the Sharon D-line. On their first drive of the second half, they were making great progress, and then the ball just popped loose. The second time, Chandrasekharan made a rare bad throw, and that got picked off. And then luckily they got the ball back on that great Conway and Chandrasekharan interception. Tipped by Conway, caught by Chandrasekharan on the pick. And then here, Chandrasekharan got the wrong blocking at the wrong time.
Well, I'm still going to give them a lot of credit on defense. They have really gotten in the way of the Ashland offense. I mean, this is a scoreless second half. We're running a 0-0 second half because of the way the defense is played.
Kevin Russell hurrying onto the field, though. They're almost at 10 men. Flag on the play and holding on the offense.
Something in the offensive backfield.
2:35 on the clock. 21-0. Ashland over the Eagles, nearing the end of the fourth.
Well, what this tells you, I mean, the last 2 weeks, the first half has been 34-0 with Sharon in the nothing. The second half has been a lot better.
We had an illegal substitution on Ashland. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
illegal substitution that might have to do with the timing.
We also saw Russell just rushing onto the field at the end of that play.
Yeah.
He kind of popped in off the sideline without
You have to.
trying to sneak onto the field. Might be something like with an unregistered receiver or something like that. 2nd and 13, 2:20 left. And Kavanaugh tries to take it himself. No luck.
Didn't bite on the fake that time. Ike did not.
We have a charge timeout at Eagles.
Sharon takes their last timeout. So 3rd and 13 coming up now.
Well, if Sharon can hold them scoreless here in the second half, I think that's a, I hate the term moral victory, but it's certainly something, because this team, remember the first drive Ashland had, I mean, they just looked like they were just walking down the field. It was that easy for them. And Sharon has really turned up the heat on defense. And they also, like I pointed out earlier in the game, if it sounds like the same names are being called on defense as are being called on offense, they are. They're the same players. They're playing two ways. And, you think
Timeout is over.
as the game goes on, Sharon's players would be tired. They're playing with more energy as the game goes on.
Bunch of Troy Browns out there. By the way,
Deion Sanders used to do that too. But Deion was the other. See, Troy was a wide receiver that played a little defense. Deion was a cornerback who decided every now and then he'd like to catch a pass until he found out about getting tackled. He didn't enjoy getting tackled.
Well, also just about baseball. I mean, two-way, two sports, stopped up the middle.
And
a
that was
huge
Jaden.
tackle.
That was Jaden in the way. I don't think that's going to work.
And just a special thank you to Stephen Rabb and Mike Baker, who have been holding up the first down and line of scrimmage markers all night.
Wow, you are good. You really care about the little people, don't you?
Special thank you to my broadcast partner, Ben Cook.
Even littler.
Little people.
Steve Rabb is cooking the hot dogs, too, I got to say. So that's
true.
That's like playing offense and defense right there.
Got some good stuff from Bill Heighton, the Sharon Board of Selectmen member.
Yep.
Is that part of a re-election campaign or something?
Also a 5-star hot dog chef, if I may say so.
Those were some good ones. Timeout called. Ashland will take their
Charge
final
timeout, Ashland.
So no timeouts remaining for either side. Minute 20 left in the ball game. 4th and 12 for Ashland. It doesn't really matter one way or the other whether or not they punt here. They're gonna punt. Maybe I think that's the right choice. You don't want to risk injuring Kavanaugh on some major sack from Jaden or Ike.
The only thing that could win this game now would be interaction by a fifth-dimensional sorcerer.
What was his name? Adam Fink?
That's what it says on Wikipedia. He's from Ashland. He's a fifth-dimensional. Do we have any in Sharon? Any sorcerers here?
Maybe one or two.
Who teaches sorcery at the high school?
That's a good question. And that ball's just gonna lie there for a while. Maybe Mr. John Mayle. He no longer teaches at Sharon High School in Spirit, nor does he call these. He no longer teaches at Sharon High School, nor does he call these football games anymore. But I figure there's got to be some correlation. We're talking about a wizard during the broadcast. He used to do the broadcast and teach at Sharon. By the transitive property of addition.
You lost me. It's not hard to do.
My math checks out.
Well, let's see what, may as well get a couple more reps on offense here for Sharon. Do they have a Hail Mary in them? They certainly have an open.
Yeah, this is Hail Mary formation.
Well, look at the. Alec Filipkowski has no one covering him right now in the middle of the field.
Finds him up the middle. Filipkowski cannot shed the first tackle down at the 40. Sharon playing hurry-up offense, trying to get some score in.
The yardage in the passing game in the second half here. So I have 105 yards passing by Kieran in the second half.
That is a great half. 105 yards passing at the high school level is good for one game. But from a team that prides themselves on their rushing, that started the season planning about their rushing game, that's so excited about their rushing, they are one of the best passing offenses in the Hawk right now. This is astounding. It's a very pleasant surprise from the Sharon standpoint. The game's not exactly looking good score-wise, but they've got a lot of optimism working for them. 55 seconds remain. Chandra Sakran drops back. He's got time. He fires up the middle, caught by P.J. McManus at the opposing 40. 20-yard gain, and they're going to run up to spike it. 48 seconds on the clock. .45.
No
Chandra
spike.
Sakran won't spike it. He takes it back to pass it under pressure. Dodges one tackle. Shovels it to the sideline. And incomplete. Good chase from Eddie Braganka. That is a great name for a hard-hitting lineman.
Yeah.
Braganka.
I'm glad we asked
It's
beforehand.
fun to say, yeah. That could have gone Braganka.
Yeah, Braganka or
Bragunkel.
something. No. We got it.
Braganka.
Paul Anka.
No.
Okay.
Joe Gunkel. We're just saying funny names.
I like Joe Gunkel, but no one else has heard of him because he's a minor league pitcher, former Red Sox farmhand, Joe Gunkel.
I've heard the name. 35 seconds left. Chandra Sakran taking him himself. Stays parallels the line of scrimmage, but he goes down. I think he went past the line of scrimmage to start with anyway, so he avoids a penalty with the sack. So Sharon gonna hurl it here.
15 seconds.
Last play, trying to get a score on the board. Chandra Sakran heaves it towards the sideline. Diving catch! That's caught by McManus.
That's
For
Owen
5
Conway.
seconds.
Owen Conway. Same right post pattern. And there's a defensive flag here. I'm assuming defense.
And it might be pass interference.
I think it is. Let's see what we'll hear the call while we look at the replay here. He aired it out to the right side.
We had defensive pass interference.
there you go.
Previous spot, 15 yards, first
Not to
down.
mention that Conway still.
The clock will
made that
start
leaping
on the
grab.
snap.
So 5 seconds. Sharon trying to get on the board. 21-0 as it stands now. They've got maybe one more play in them.
Definitely one more play. You're not going to run 2 plays with no timeouts and 5 seconds
Well, it
left.
could be 0. I believe they
gonna
start running the clock.
No, not after a penalty.
That's
After a
true.
Yeah, so once the ball is snapped, the clock will start, but very little chance that this play will play itself out in under 5 seconds.
21-0 Ashland leads. Sharon trying to turn that egg into a 7. Chandra Sakran drops back. He's got time. Lobs it to the corner and knocked away. So that'll do it for us from Sharon. 21-0.
That's a game.
The final score, a shutout for Ashland. But Sharon had a second half shutout for themselves, against Ashland. So a defensive battle all around, except for those kind of haywire first 2 quarters. But thank you all for joining us from Sharon High School. I'm Jesse Cook, alongside Ben Cook. For our crew, Warren Smith, Max Goodman, Nate Yaffe, Danny Rubenstein, Adam Fagarski, Lila Grew, Isaac Jarofsky, and Amy Toby. Thank you all for joining us on Sharon Community Television. We'll be back for football in 2 weeks against Milford. And final score is 21-0. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you soon.